my God.
Welcome to episode 2 of Roses, Rings, and Rose. I'm your host, Morgan. Joining me once again is Madeline, so I'm glad that you're back.
Glad to be back.
We're taking off on episode 2 of The Bachelor. So we left off on Hannah B and Peter in that room talking. Right. Is she gonna come back? Is she not gonna come back? Mm-hmm. From what we know, right now, she does not come back. It was really awkward, like, the scene they showed.
It was, and it felt very, like, incomplete at the end. There was a lot of the same questions being asked over and over again, so with sometimes different answers, I felt, especially on Hannah B's part, but it just seemed like a very uncomfortable situation to be in to begin with.
There wasn't a whole lot there. I don't know why they needed to save that clip for this week, only to leave everyone on a cliffhanger, literally it. But, like, let's just do, like, a quick rundown of what happened. This was what stuck out to me. Hannah goes, "Can I hug you?" And Peter's like, "Yeah," and she goes.
And Peter goes and gets glitter all over himself.
I know. From her dress, it was all over his face,
all over his suit.
I wonder if the girls noticed, like, all the glitter on his face when he walked back to him.
You have to. You have to wonder.
Right? And then, so after that, that's pretty much how it ended. Was like they hugged and then they just were like,
"Gotta get back to the girls."
Yeah.
You know that I'm dating.
Thank goodness Peter didn't kiss her. They came this close.
That would have been.
It was so close.
That would have been a mess.
And so he went back to the girls who were on the group date, and he was like, "We all need to, like, come together and, like, talk for a minute." And then he cancels the group date because he's like, "I'm confused. Like, obviously you guys know Hannah B was here, and we just talked, had a conversation, and I need time to breathe," pretty much is what he said. So none of the girls really said anything except for Natasha.
Yeah. Natasha.
I didn't love how she handled that. I didn't like how she called him out in front of everyone. It was just kind of like, this isn't okay. He was like saying something about, like, needing to get over her, and she's like, "Well, I don't know how you can. She's not gone. Like, she's here every day that I've been here, that I've been with you." And I'm like, let's calm down.
Let's shut it down for
just
a moment.
like Jenna said last week, like, this is about Peter finding love. This isn't about all 30 women finding love. So I really didn't appreciate that comment from Natasha at all.
No, because I don't feel like it was really Peter's fault. Like, he doesn't plan the group dates, you know?
No.
So it wasn't necessarily his choice to have Hannah B back, and of course that's going to be difficult for him because he's still, you know, processing everything from Hannah's season 2, it seems like. Even though he says he's over it,
right.
But, like,
what, they had maybe, like, 2 months in between, like, maybe 2-3 months. Like, who gets over someone that, like, quickly? Someone they fell in love with.
Especially on, like, having had such an intense experience as the Bachelorette.
And,
like,
you watch it. You watch it back.
And then you have to yeah, exactly.
No. You just can't. That's not fair to him. So my phone stopped recording. Where the heck did we even leave off? So then it goes to the cocktail party, and they all get their turn to, like, talk to him, ask him how he's doing, that type of thing. Like, they only showed a couple girls, like, actually talking to him, so I don't know what everyone had to say, but, like, the ones they did show, like, at least Natasha called him out, was being direct. Direct was the term he used, and he was like, "No, I do appreciate you being direct," so good for Peter.
I feel like most of the girls they showed either one-on-one with Peter or just sitting around with the other girls kind of waiting for their time did mention, like, "Oh, this just, like, it's not fair, like, I want my time."
You can't really just be like, "How dare he, like, not spend that time with me?" It's like, honey, you're trying to spend that time with him. This is about him and him finding his wife. This isn't about you.
The
Bachelor. If you want it to be about you, try and be the Bachelorette. Like, then you get your turn.
But I thought Sydney had a really good conversation with Peter.
So Sydney does. She had a really good conversation with him, and she ends up getting the group date rose, which McKenna was a little hurt by because McKenna had made out with him. So she was like, "I deserve that." It's like, little do you know, honey, he's making out with everybody.
He's making out with everybody.
Which, Oh my god, Dylan from Paradise, you know, that's dating Hannah G, had this really funny tweet because someone from like Barstool Rhea, but she tweeted something like, it seems like all Peter ever wanted does is like make out. And Dylan had like retweeted it with like a comment and said, yeah, it gets really awkward when all the boys want to hang out to watch football. Which I thought was really funny. So then moving on, since this was technically, that date was like the end of week 1. They go to the rose ceremony, which a lot of drama happened. But so the drama that happened at the cocktail party.
Champagne gate.
Oh no, champagne gate. What are you gonna do? So here's what happened. Kelsey brought a bottle of champagne that she had been saving for a year from like Iowa, wanted to open it with Peter. It was like really special. Pretty much all the girls had been talking to her about it, which kind of makes this a little bit fishy. She had been talking to literally every girl about it, I feel like. They never showed her directly talking to Hannah Ann about it. But I feel like it'd be hard not to like hear
At
that.
least overhear it.
Right? Yeah. I know, maybe she's just only concerned about herself, which I wouldn't be surprised about.
Or maybe Kelsey doesn't like to talk to Hannah Ann, which I can also understand.
Maybe. So then the producers I think they told Peter that there was like a bottle of champagne set up for like when he wanted to pull aside Hannah Ann. They accidentally go to the bottle of champagne that Kelsey had set up by the fire, like,
And not the one that was hidden behind the outdoor couch?
What? And I find that so hard to believe that none of the cameramen, like, none of the like people who were there like helping, like no one said anything because they literally filmed Kelsey setting that up. And then to have Hannah Ann accidentally like use that, like, come on. So then Kelsey like hears them popping a bottle of champagne and she's like, oh my god.
And all the girls are like,
yeah, so Kelsey like walks on over and she like looks over and she's like, oh my god. Oh my god. And then she just like leaves. And Peter and Hannah Ann are like, what's going
happened?
What's going on? So then Peter goes to find Kelsey because he could tell that she was upset. Well, then Kelsey doesn't want to talk to Peter. And I was like, that's rude. He's trying to help. He doesn't know what's going on. That's not fair. He can cut you.
I also understand though, when you've had a few drinks, as all the ladies have.
Probably. 2 per hour.
And then, you know, when you're really looking forward to something.
Kelsey was already very, like, in that mindset to just... So then Tammy, while Kelsey's in the bathroom, Tammy goes to talk to Hannah Ann, like a nice person. I thought Tammy handled that very well. Tammy went over and was just like, hey girl, like that was Kelsey's bottle of champagne she had been like saving. And Hannah Ann just like, you know, if someone were to tell me that, you know, you should react like, oh my god, like I had no idea, like I wouldn't have done that. Hannah Ann does not give us that reaction.
Hannah Ann. That's what Hannah Ann does. Which is kind of sketchy.
Right. Hannah actually approaches her first, I think, and like goes to apologize. And Kelsey's like, I don't want to talk to you right now. Like, don't come talk to me, whatever. And Hannah Ann was just like, right, like when you feel like it, like going and talking, like really talking down to her for like being emotional. She was like we can go chat or whatever. And I was like, I'm over it. But then they finally do go to like somewhat talk. I don't remember how it happened. But so they go to chat and
Hannah Ann's just simply not apologetic at all.
No.
However much she may have known about the situation, she clearly doesn't feel very sorry that she even accidentally opened Kelsey's champagne.
Because Hannah Ann's just like we said, she doesn't apologize. She says, I'm sorry you feel that way, which is not an apology. And Kelsey calls her out. And she says everything that me and Jenna have been thinking. She's like, you're calculated. You're a snake and I don't like you. And I'm like, yes, Kelsey. Like, you're being a little, like, you've cried a little too much. But I love this.
It was a lot. But she had a point.
This is not just like an in the moment type of thing. Like,
no.
My guess is that her and the other girls have totally been talking about this, or else you wouldn't have like all this like built up like
Right, and what,
You know?
all these women have been living together for a week, so,
Yeah.
like, maybe even if Kelsey hasn't, like, spoken to Hannah Ann a lot, she notices things that
Yeah.
happen, especially when they're around Peter.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And especially since the last episode when Hannah Ann, like, pulled him aside, like, 3 times, you know, that little... And she has more sketchy moments later that I'm just like, she's really coming off as the Luke P for sure. Jenna called that one. She did. She said, she's the Luke P, and
I know. Also from Alabama, right? No,
Yeah.
Tennessee.
Tennessee! Moving on. During the cocktail before the rose ceremony, Peter gave Madison a picture. And it was the picture.
Their family. I know. No, I actually said something about this to my roommates. I was like, wow, such a cute picture to have so that when she like loses the show, she can have this picture of her and his family forever. Not that I necessarily think that Madison's gonna lose, because I'm really rooting for Madison right now. Honestly.
She has to go far now. Like,
I know.
Obviously, like from the first date, from this picture of her with his entire family, I'm like, she needs to be top 2 or else. Like, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Her personality has gotten better, like a lot better. I've talked to literally everyone, like all my friends who were watching it last night, the people I was watching it with like last week, like we've all talked about her intro, her like hometown intro thing
was nasty.
with the state basketball rings. It wasn't it, and no one liked it. But the date and like her was so much better. Then
the rose ceremony,
since it stopped recording, we've already X'd them out. So I'm gonna re-X them. So we got Courtney, we got Warren, and we got Peyton, which Peyton wasn't wearing a very cute outfit.
She had a fashion faux pas.
It was like a zebra pink sequence like moment. Like
we weren't super excited about Courtney's outfit either.
No.
So I was kind of mentally asking myself, when it comes down to like those last few roses,
you don't know very well.
Do you look at the outfits?
That's funny. But I'm sad Lauren didn't get more time. But she also seemed very quiet and reserved, and so it's like it's kind of hard to like with all these other like really big personalities, you know?
Yeah. Well, and not to mention Kelsey and Hannah Ann had to stand next to each other during the rose ceremony.
Literally during everything. They're like, let's get this tension right next to each other.
Also, I just had this one tidbit because like Tammy seemed very supportive through all of Champagne Gate. Like,
yes.
Especially to Kelsey, I felt like. And I was super surprised when she was like, I hope Peter like sees what's going on and sends Kelsey home tonight. Do you remember that?
I feel like she said like Kelsey had like overreacted a bit, and it was a little much, and like you just like can't act that way, you know? And like I appreciate Tammy. Like I feel like she's saying all the things that I'm feeling. I don't think she
Tammy
necessarily
seems very level-headed.
I don't think she trusts Hannah Ann either.
No.
I'm gonna say that right now. So we go on this week 2 group date, and they're going to, it's like Revolve, which I've never heard of.
Me either.
But all the girls walk in like, oh my god, Revolve! Like, and so the girls have to put together 2 outfits, which they are going to walk on a runway for.
Day wear, evening wear.
Yes. And it's all a little spicy. So Victoria F starts having like this like breakdown while they're like picking out clothes. And she's like I'm just like not confident with myself. Like, I don't know, like I just don't stand out in a crowd, like stuff like this and this. And I'm like,
which
why?
I kind of disagree with the standing out in the
Where
crowd.
is she?
She's one of the most like.
Look at her.
She's so gorgeous.
She's
like
literally gorgeous. Like, I know I, like, really got into her last week about her personality because she mumbles a lot, but, like, I get it because she said she has confidence issues, but she's literally gorgeous. Like, I wish. And then she's talking about how she doesn't, like, stand out and she doesn't know how to, like, get Peter's attention and all this. I'm like, you do realize, like, the show you signed up for, right?
That's the whole point.
Yeah, and we'll get to it later in the group date when they have the cocktail party and she's talking to him. I was just like, you did not think about this when you signed up for the show, because this is ridiculous. They're doing their runway stuff. First of all, Hannah Ann, for her day wear, wore a wedding dress.
I also had an issue with this because they told them to choose pieces that show off their personality. And so your personality is what?
A wife.
Marriageable? What? I guess it's like kind of cute and flirty and haha, it's The Bachelor.
She wants to stand out, whatever.
But
that was too much. I can't. They're like walking down this runway, whatever. And so Victoria F goes out there. She's literally like, they have her take a shot of something, I think.
they're like, you can do it.
And she's like, I got this. And so she goes out there, freaking works it.
I forgot, what was
loved
her
it.
day wear like?
I don't remember what her day wear was, but her
evening
evening
wear.
wear. She had this robe on, and then when she gets to the end of the runway, she takes it off, and she's wearing like lingerie. And I was like, no confidence? You're kidding. I couldn't tell.
Honey.
And then she goes over and pulls Peter and starts kissing him right there. I was like, get it. So then the judges, the like guest stars who were there, so then they break it down to the final two. They decide, they're like, Hannah Ann and Victoria F. First of all, I was a little salty that Hannah Ann's chosen just because she like is a model.
But I didn't think like there was anything super special about her evening wear or like anything else about her performance.
Where was it? So they're chosen and they're gonna do a little walk off. They're both wearing the same exact
The
dress.
same very ugly dress.
And so they like start strutting it down the runway. Hannah Ann, first of all, already like cuts Victoria off when they're walking. And Victoria F already talked about how she doesn't feel confident. So like walking next to her, I feel like they should have made them walk separate.
Yeah.
Like that made me upset. But so they take off, they get to the end of the runway. Hannah Ann's still in front of Victoria F and just like swings her dress open to hit Victoria F, which I was like,
You have, like, she's right there. There's no way you don't know that she's right there.
calculated, a snake. So then Victoria F is just kind of like standing there like, like I don't know what to do. And so she does like a little pose and everything and then turns around and walks back. And Hannah Ann pretends to start walking back and then turns back around and gives them like more poses. So then of course the judges, being as dumb as they are and falling for Hannah Ann's little stunt, pick her. I was mad about it.
I was also upset about it. But then as punishment, she had to wear that dress for the rest of the evening.
And it was ugly.
It was not cute.
Yeah. So then we go to the cocktail party, and the first one to pull Peter aside is Victoria F. And so they kind of like have like, okay, again, Victoria and the mumbling, like,
Speak up, honey.
Like, we know you're upset about something. Please just talk to him about it. And so they kind of like have a moment. He's like, let's get away from all these cameras. Like, let's go over here. Obviously,
Where
there's-
the cameras can still see us, but where it's very fuzzy.
And so they talk, and she pretty much tells him about like the whole confidence issue, and she's like I just don't stand out in girls. I don't know, her confidence about like not being able to like bring the attention to her, take the center of attention, like go after a man that she wants. I'm like, you signed up for The Bachelor. What did you think you were getting yourself into? Like, she's like, there's just so many girls here. I'm like, it's The Bachelor. She's like, and it's so early. And I'm like, duh. I was like, what? Did you want to just join in week 10 and be like,
surprise.
Victoria, you can't be doing that because you signed up for this.
But she did get that moment on the runway. She was like, I remember her saying, she's like, I finally feel like he sees me, you know, and I thought that was really
And
sweet.
he was like, I did. And they had a cute moment, and it was cute. Then, of course, Hannah Ann's having like this moment, and she's like, you know what, last night I just felt really bullied by Kelsey, is what the term she used, which I didn't love.
No.
Because they got in a fight is what they got into. It was not her antagonizing her for no reason. And she was like, she called me the B word. She said I was a princess.
Really, you're gonna go tell Peter?
That's what I hate.
Tell Peter
You
how
know,
bad
you know what a
brother?
woman does? She goes and talks to the girl about it. You don't
She-
go tattletale.
She gives her a real apology to start with, and if they still have problems after that apology, they talk about it like adults. You don't go tattle to your boyfriend about it.
Jesus.
Like,
Again, calculated. I feel like Hannah Ann did that.
it's
She
definitely a
wanted-
strategic move.
She wanted sympathy from Peter, and Peter obviously like gave that to her and was like, "That's not okay. Like,
But
I don't like
then-
that." And she thought she was gonna get that group date rose, but she didn't. Victoria
Anyway.
F gets the group date rose, and Hannah Ann, they literally pan to her face, and she's like,
oh my gosh, you didn't win something.
"Here, come here." Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, thank you. Throw up Sonic ad. I don't want to hear it.
But she got the added bonus of Peter, like, pulling Kelsey aside and putting Kelsey in that situation.
Yeah, so then, like, and honestly, like, Kelsey and Peter are literally over it. Like, they're making jokes about the champagne. So I don't know why Hannah Ann feels the need to be like, I was crying all night because this girl called me a like, honey, if I cried every time someone called me a like, I would be. Then Peter's like, because obviously Peter is really into Hannah Ann because boys are stupid. Okay, literally every guy I've talked to about this show are like, I love Hannah Ann. And it's like, no kidding. It's fine. It's whatever. But so, yeah.
It's their opinion.
It is. It's their own opinion. It's our opinion. Whatever. Like, I think if you used your brain, you would see that Hannah Ann doesn't have a good personality. But then Peter, after handing out the group date rose, pulls Kelsey aside and talks to her and tells her what Hannah Ann said. And Kelsey, of course, is like, I find that kind of ridiculous. She's like, first of all, I've been bullied before, and that's not what it was. And she was like, I've seen Hannah Ann around you, and I've seen her around the girls, and she's like two completely different people. I hate that she's like manipulating stuff like this. And I was like, first of all, I'm tired of people getting in fights on this show, bringing it to the like lead's attention, and then being like, there's two different stories. What the heck do I do? You know what I would do? Producers, playback. I want to see it. Let me see what actually happened. I would not. Like, this is about finding my husband or his wife. Like, I want to know the truth. If someone's lying about it, if I have other opinions about what happened, like, that person's got to go because they just manipulated that situation to get attention. That's where we end on this episode. Let's talk about predictions. So here's my thoughts. Final two. Hannah Ann and Madison, okay? Those are my final two. What I think happens is that Barbara is seen, Peter's mom, crying, and she's like, don't let her go. She's talking about Madison, okay?
Obvi.
She's already met her. She's already in love with her. Like, she's like, I want her in this family, okay? That's my only thought. So I think she's talking about Madison. Here's my thought, though, is that Peter is extremely into Hannah Ann. And so when it goes to like he's about to propose, I think he's going to propose to Hannah Ann, but that's when Chris Harrison is like, listen, we just found this out, but we thought we should let you know. And so there's a lot of drama that ensues with whoever he's about to propose to. And then he's like having a mental breakdown and he's like torn. And so I think Hannah Ann causes that drama. So those are like my top two ideas, what's gonna happen. Okay, here's my thought is though, Alea, I think she's the one maybe that we have the issue with, that he's like hooking up with other girls.
Yeah.
I think she might be that person. Has that Luke P moment where it's like, it's not okay that you're hooking up with other people, and it's like, my top five, I'm gonna go with, so obviously Hannah Ann and Madison.
Right.
Kelly I'm gonna throw in there.
Kelly.
Tammy.
Ooh.
I'm kind of torn between this Alea stuff or Deandra. I really like. Yeah, I'm gonna choose that as my top five. What do you think, Madeline?
So Jimmy Kimmel's wife
Yes.
has predicted like 6 of the last 7 results of The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. Jimmy Kimmel's wife chose for her top 3 Kelly, Madison, and Hannah Ann.
Okay.
And she thought Peter was gonna propose to Hannah Ann at the end of it.
Yeah.
I can see them all going really far. I mean, Peter already has really strong connections with all of them, I feel like.
What I do love is that Kelly and like Madison are like staying out of the drama. Like they weren't really in this last episode as far as like drama goes, which I feel like maybe Kelly's gonna get into that drama a little bit because she's an attorney and people are gonna be like at her for like already knowing him, and she's just gonna be like, I'm not putting up with your BS. And same with Tammy. Tammy gives off that vibe too.
I'd
which
like
is
to see Tammy
also
go
reasons
far.
why I like them, because they don't put up with people's stuff, and I agree. Victoria F, I hope, gets like top 10. Let's talk about who we think is gonna get cut for next week, okay? So I'm thinking Lexi and Sheehan, I feel like, are gonna go.
I was also gonna say she.
For sure. I don't know about the third. Who do you think?
So I'm looking at Savannah right here or Jasmine.
Okay.
To be the third
I can see
person
that.
to leave next week.
Maybe Kiara?
We haven't seen a lot of Kiara.
Yeah, no. I'll throw her in the mix too, just as a maybe. Maybe Savannah or Kiara over Jasmine, because I think she could stay for a while. Yeah. Those are our predictions for the season, for next week, who's gonna get cut, and all that. Thank you guys for watching this episode. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, comment. If you want us to talk about certain stuff, comment what you want us to talk about. Like, I don't know. Hit us up.
Put it in the comments.
Yeah.
Who's your fave? Least fave? Who's gotta get out of there?
My Instagram, if you want to follow my Instagram, is mo_KRTZ. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye.